Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is page 256. That's how it was. This chapter is called What Should We Do? I'm reading the last four paragraphs. Whatever you do, whatever you undertake, dedicate it to Him. Don't even think, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it good or bad? Is it a strength or weakness? Just dedicate everything to Him. Gradually, dishonesty will fade. Gradually, other things will fade. And more unadulterated love and honesty will grow. You cannot begin with a clean slate, as it were. You must begin from where you are. We all have weaknesses, but analyzing and dissecting our motives, trying to understand whether we are being prompted by selfishness or unselfishness, will not eliminate our weaknesses. It will only drive us crazy and make it impossible for us to do anything. The only way to get rid of our selfishness is to go ahead and do something, but dedicate it to Him. For example, say you decide to pick up junk from the street so that the streets will be kept clean and tidy. This is a quote good, a worthwhile enterprise. So you start to do it, but you notice very quickly that there is a strong desire in you to have others notice you doing this. You find yourself thinking, what a good example I am setting. I am not doing this for money. I am doing this for everyone's welfare, and people should be grateful to me. Perhaps after a while, you even want to call attention to yourself, or you get angry when others don't notice what you're doing. You may even become resentful that you are not being properly appreciated. Or then again, your ego might fasten itself upon the fact that others are not noticing you. See how spiritual I am, that I am doing this even though no one is noticing or praising me for it. In short, the ego is very much present. But so what? The ego is always present. It is the nature of the ego to seize upon whatever we do and use it to strengthen itself. So, what is the solution? The solution is to simply keep on doing what you are doing. After a while, that initial zeal may be gone. You may lose your enthusiasm. But if you continue, even if it is mechanical on your part, the selfish aspects of your behavior with time will fade. Eventually, you will completely forget about all those other considerations, and you will find yourself picking up the junk from habit, solely from the desire to keep the streets clean. It honestly won't matter to you whether others notice you doing it or not. You won't expect them to praise you, and it won't bother you if they condemn you. The action, by being dedicated to Him, becomes purified.
I just think that's beautiful. And I mean, just a very practical illustration. Because if you try to fight the ego, it's, as the Sufis say, it has the same kind of weapon that you come after it with. If you come after it with a gun, it'll have a gun. If you come after it with a knife, it'll have a knife. And what they say is the way to get rid of the, well, the analogy from the Sufi teacher was that the ego comes in to your house at night to steal whatever is of value. Whatever weapon you bring against it, it will have an equal weapon. And so, what do you do? How can you deal with this? You turn on the light. If you turn on the light, the thief is is a coward at heart. And how do you turn on the light? Through remembrance, dedication, and everything to the beloved. So good. I just think that's so good that you brought that out the other day. Here's here's something that you know people kind of talk about free will and predestination and everything, and we have a will, but it's not that free. I mean, it's dependent very much on our conditioning, and sometimes Erich you'd ask him, does he believe in free will, and or did Baba say that there's such thing as free will? But Erich would say, I exercise my free will to become his slave. But here are a couple of quotes on that very thing. One of them from Baba, and there's one from, if I can get it. Oh wow! Here it is. This is what Rumi says. The saying, whatever God wills will happen, does not end, therefore be passive. Rather, it means forget yourself and get ready to help. Stay alert and close by, like a worker waiting to perform whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read that again. The saying, whatever God wills will happen, does not end, therefore be passive. Rather, it means forget yourself and get ready to help. Stay alert and close by, like a worker waiting to perform whatever needs to be done.
No. No.
And here's here's a beautiful thing that Baba said. So you might think, well, is there free will and everything? Well, this might kind of challenge the way you might think about that. This is what Baba says: a new line in the divine picture is sketched only when some individual takes life forcefully in his hands, breaks up the old patterns, and insists on creating something new by his own inner vision. I'll read that again. A new line in the divine picture is sketched only when some individual takes life forcefully in his hands, breaks up the old patterns, and insists on creating something new by his own inner vision. Do you remember that quote, Mayor Prasad? It's from Listen Humanity.
Wow.
Yeah. On Ways to the Path, I think is the name of it.
Beautiful.
Now, there was one lady that came to the center, and she shared this, and I don't think we've heard at all anything from. I don't think she ever wrote down the exchanges she had with Baba. But I happened to write it down when we were in the refectory, and I asked her because she had met Baba. Her name was Anita Putalik, and she had heard of Baba in New York and went to some of the Monday night meetings, and then she moved, I think, either to Michigan or Wisconsin. And when Baba was coming to New York in 1956, some of the people from the Monday night group in New York contacted her and asked if she wanted to come and meet Baba. And her husband agreed. She was, she was pregnant, and there was a little concern. In fact, she was concerned that there might be some trouble might happen with giving birth to this child. Anyway, she came to to New York where Baba was giving interviews, and she was waiting there in the waiting room, and Baba was in the other room, and Baba made a gesture to Adi, kind of like this. I don't know, you can't really see. So, and then sent Adi into the waiting room, and he thought Baba was indicating somebody that's overweight, and he looked around, and there wasn't anybody that really quite fit that description. So he went back in again, and Baba went like this, and so he went there. He got it. He said, "Is there someone here who's pregnant?" And so she was the first one to have the interview in 1956. She went in. I don't think she was really showing her pregnancy so much at that point. And so she came in, and Baba, she said that she was pregnant, and she was very worried about some problems that were going to occur in this pregnancy, in giving birth. Baba convinced her. I mean, she's told me Baba convinced her somehow that there would be no problem. In fact, there was no problem that occurred. Then she said to Baba, "Baba, I'm devoted to Jesus," and and Baba affirmed that that's not a problem. Don't worry about that. Be devoted to Jesus as deeply as you can. Then this is what Baba said to her. But you have made one big mistake in your spiritual life. He's telling her, this is the first time she's meeting him. You have made one big mistake in your spiritual life. You have put God up in heaven. And until you find him in everyone you meet, your religion will always be lopsided. You have put God in heaven, but until you find him in everyone you meet, your religion will always be lopsided. And that became the theme of her life. So when you were with her, it was like being with Kitty. You had her full attention. She was like completely. I mean, this is many years later. I mean, we're talking about maybe the early '80s or something. So this is probably 25 years later. And she said that, and she continued in her Christian life and everything, and she became like a counselor. But she was able to give such one-pointed focus on each one before her. So Baba kind of gave her the theme and practice for her life. So that was Anita Putalik. But anyway, so I've said a few things here. Anybody else have anything to bring up or share?
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah,
I just found something in this book, Early Messages to the West.
yeah,
And one of the things we were talking about in Effort and Grace was good and evil, or virtue and, that kind of
yes,
thing, good and bad. So here is something I found which is very interesting. Here, Baba goes, virtue or goodness is the antithesis of evil or sin in an individual character. Then Baba further goes, virtue then is due to cooperation with the karmic law, and sin is due to conscious or unconscious failure to cooperate with the karmic law. So once again, let me read that.
yeah,
Virtue then is due to cooperation with the karmic law, and sin is due to conscious or unconscious failure to cooperate with the karmic law. That was pretty interesting between good and bad. And remember, we were talking about that
Yeah.
aspect. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just happened to come across this, then I thought I might just share this quickly.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, the difference between, well, not only good and bad or good and evil, but then love. Where does love fit in? That's the and love which is beyond
Yeah.
good and bad, virtue and vice.
Yeah.
You know,
And also, I just don't want to derail the current theme of discussion, but so at some point, if we have time, can we talk about intuition and the source and its source, basically?
okay, yeah,
Yeah, I was wondering, can there be degrees of intuition? It's a weird question, but I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
It's interesting because Bob has said that intuition is always 100% correct,
Hmm.
but accessing it, that that's the challenge. In other words, if you can get to intuition, it's amazing that we have something on us that knows.
Hmm.
But the degrees are getting acting from it or picking it up clearly, and that's to me that's the challenge is to get to the heart of it and then live it out, carry it out. But very often, we'll have intuitions, and we'll have an intuition to call somebody,
Hmm.
and we kind of put it off, and then we found out later that that was the time to call them before they left to go, on a long trip or something. Or I mean, this is back in a time when you didn't have cell phones, but you know, there are a lot of intuitions that it's hard to tell whether they're conclusions of the intellect or whether they are actual intuitions from the deeper heart. And once we get access to intuition, we can guide our life a lot more easily than when we're just trying to go by guesswork, trying to trial and error. Yeah,
Right. Is spiritual wisdom same as intuition?
I would say so.
Hmm. No, because I was thinking over the lifetimes, obviously we are learning, right? I mean, we die and then we sort of review what all we did in the past life on earth, and then we sort of distill the experience and perhaps store it somewhere. And this learning, is that one of the sources of intuition?
Yeah, I mean, Baba says that intuition is, there are two aspects of intuition. One is a distillation of experience.
Hmm.
You've been through enough experience that you know that to behave this way has these consequences, because you've been around the block so many times. But then there's an intuition that comes from beyond experience, where you get a flash of something that comes like grace, you might say, and you respond to that. Something that was really beyond your experience, but it comes in, and then you act according to that. So you may have a suddenly a sense, I'm not going to get in my car today, that, and as a result, you might avert an accident that might have been destined.
Right.
You
So,
know,
so do you say, I mean, based on whatever you understood, that it's always right, whatever comes from that sort of feeling, I mean, or intuition, it can never be wrong, right? Is that
yeah, I think it's a correct, but like I say, the intellect, the ego,
yeah,
mind,
right,
comes in there posing like it knows.
right, right.
That's the damn thing. But let's just throw it out here to anybody else. Anybody else want to weigh in on intuition? or an example of 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 how an intuition was helpful in a circumstance.
So, Jeff,
Yeah,
yeah. So that means like intuition is sort of like a guiding force for you, and it can, what as you just mentioned, that it can override the whatever was predestined by setting you on the right course.
yeah. It can, if it comes as grace, you can avert something that was kind of destined, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, Baba can basically, coming from Baba, Baba can put an intuition in there and get you to do something that causes you to avoid something that might have been not in your best interest or even a dangerous situation.
But then again, doesn't that free will question come in here in a way?
Yeah, there's a line from Rumi where he says the debate between the free willists and those who believe in predestination, the debate between these two will go on till the end of time. But I've mentioned this before. I mean, I asked Darwin about free will and predestination, and he gave me. Oh, hey, well, before I do that, let's go to Catherine here. She's raised her hand.
Jibaba,
Yeah.
I just found something here that I've read before about intuition, and it that I'll just read, and it's on the internet, but it's from Lord Mayher, volume 11 and 12. It says page 300 or 3,812. But it says, first, there is intuition. When you feel something as intuition and have no doubt about it, then know it is real. Passing doubtful thoughts and temporary emotional feelings should not be given importance. But when you feel it touches your heart, follow it. When it is from the mind, it is not intuition. Intuition means that which comes from the heart. In the divine path, first there is intuition, then inspiration, then illumination, and finally realization. If it touches your heart, follow it. And God willing, from today, you will know that if it is intuition, it is right. My love will help you and guide you to understand what is right. Love, Baba. God wants honest love. He is all honesty and wants honest love. So love, Baba. God will help you in your quest for the truth. And I just found that on an internet
Yeah.
site search. So, but that's, it's been a question of mine in my own spiritual path. And I guess I'll share that along with intuition, I've had this sort of experience, and people have probably heard the term of being an empath, which is sort of like feeling the emotions or energy around in a place or of a person, and that you kind of feel it as your own. And it got to be difficult to be around certain places and stuff. And I found that, I just had to almost seclude myself at one point in my life because of that. But it's, though I know that it is hard to know whether it's from the mind sometimes, because I have a pretty active mind. And so I tend to pray about it, but sometimes it'll be so strong that I just follow it. And it usually is correct to follow what I feel is intuition. And it helps me out of some jams and things like that.
Yeah, beautiful. And like you say, empathy. I think empathy is manifests is a manifestation of intuition. There, you're getting a direct experience of what is going on in your environment, or what might be going on in someone else. and you know. Sometimes you know, and sometimes you project. what was projecting on somebody or actually picking up what's there. And with the beautiful thing about life is, like, suppose you think somebody is being dishonest, and then you find out actually later on that they were honest. So that means it was a projection. And I've always kind of held myself accountable. I said, Jeff, look it. They were honest and you thought they were dishonest. So you say, I'm not going to believe you, mind. But then later on you think somebody was honest or dishonest, and then you discover they were dishonest. I don't mean to judge them, but and so you say, wow, that wasn't a projection, that was intuition. You follow? So life kind of plays it out where you can see whether your whether your observation, your conclusion was correct, or whether it was a projection. And following that sharpens the intuition, if you don't mind making mistakes. But anyway, let's go and see what Lanita has to say.
Hi, Jai Baba, everyone.
Yeah.
So I have a question. That's something that bugged me for 36 years.
Oh, good. We got a great panel here. We're gonna solve it for you here.
When I was pregnant with my daughter, was right in the beginning of the pregnancy. I think it was 2 months, not even 2 months. And I was lying down in my bed, but I wasn't sleeping. I was just very tired, and I lie down after lunch to rest. But I didn't sleep. So just like that, I heard this voice, very strong, saying that this baby of yours is a girl. And her name is Clara. C-L-A-R-A, Clara. Clara, we say Clara in Portuguese, Claire. And I was like, and then I jump, I sit in the bed and I look around. It feels like I was somebody there, talking to me. But I was nobody there, So, and then obviously she was a girl, and then I didn't find out until when she was born. When she was born, was a girl. I knew it was going to be a girl because there was no doubt in my mind that. And I named her Clara. So, what is this? This is intuition. This is God's voice that came from me, or from God, or from me, God in me. And what is that? I never really asked anybody. That's the first time I ask you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, my view is you could say that's from God, or you can say that's from your higher self, or from your intuition.
Yeah.
They're all really the same,
Right?
And it can come as a voice, or it can come as a flash, and you can put it into words, but in the flash, there's a knowing, but there you got it in the form of words. And how could you know, just a Brazilian young lady, lying on the bed and get something like that,
Yeah.
It's not something that you had, you had the scientific knowledge of. You were able to access the truth of a situation, without using, overriding your intellect, and just getting the intuition about this situation.
Yeah.
It's a girl, and to me, that could very well be Baba before you even knew of him.
Yes, that's what I thought later on. I always have that conviction, and it was Baba talking to me. Baba just said to me when it was a girl.
Yeah.
And her name, he gave a name to her.
Yeah.
And then after I became a Baba lover, then of course I always thought it was Baba, but until then, I was always like, what this come from? Because it was so clear. I didn't have any doubt about it, that she was going to be a girl in her name, So,
Yeah.
so could be either, because you said everything is tied up, right? My higher self, God, my higher self, intuition that comes from the higher self anyway,
Yeah.
So was just this voice, this my inner voice talking to me, making sure I was
Yeah. No, yeah,
okay.
anyone else have to beautiful. Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
So, I mean,
Great,
Jeff,
Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one more thought. Uh, all these ways of, trying to figure out the intuition part of it, they all should have, all these intuitions should have a higher purpose, basically to drive you to realize that love. I mean, is that uh, is that a proper way of understanding it? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I can have various types of understanding. Do I want to win the lottery or not? But if it doesn't drive me to realize my real purpose in life,
Yeah.
then that intuition has no value to me, really speaking. I may call it intuition, but it may be, I don't know, something else. So, intuition in the real sense must have a higher purpose to fulfill, to drive you towards, something that is your life needs. So, that, I mean, to realize your own self, I mean, basically, literally.
Yeah.
If intuition drives me to avoid an accident, it has a purpose because it's helping you to live longer, to get rid of your sanskaras, and which is obviously a way to move on in this path towards realizing ourselves. So it may manifest in ways that are too materialistic, but the purpose is always, you know uh,
Yeah. I yeah. I mean, because Baba himself might say, um, go become a doctor.
mm,
I mean, that seems like, well, that's real. That's just a worldly advice that Baba's giving, but it's linked up. I mean, because Baba is like the embodiment of intuition. So it it you become a doctor, and that was the course that was best for your spiritual growth. But someone like Erich, there's one thing where you have intuition that comes to you, but then eventually your life begins to embody intuition. So when you saw Erich, you're actually seeing the embodiment of intuition, and it's not like psychic, where but he just the way he responds and gets to the deeper part of you.
mm,
He's operating from an intuition that he doesn't even have to think about.
right,
You
right.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, right,
But yeah, anyone else? Anyone else? This is a very
Yeah,
good
Baba.
subject. Go. Yeah, Priya. Yeah.
Yes. I remember once in the past also we have spoken about intuition. I remember writing some brief notes on it. I remember what resonated the most was that intuition is about going in the heart space and finding out what the truth is, and that be the guiding force. So I
Yes.
imagine what Prakash talks about, the varying degrees of intuition, is about how in each moment, how aware we really are. And I think because deep inside, we know everything. The question is, how often are we able to access that truth? And probably
Exactly.
that is what is intuition, at least to me. And I find that the only way to even, obey Baba. I mean,
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
but it would be
Beautifully described.
interesting to know how one cultivates it more.
Yeah. There are some ways I picked up that you might find interesting, but I'll tell you one intuition. I had some. I wasn't raised religiously or anything. But when I was maybe in junior high or high school, I knew intuitively that what I was looking for in life, I would find in New York City. Now I was 3,000 miles away. What I was looking for in life, and I didn't even know, but I knew that I was going to find. So I applied to a number of colleges in the East, and I wound up going to college in New York City. And that's where, and at the college is where I heard of Baba. And I didn't even know what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for God. I was looking for something deeper, but I didn't necessarily call it God. But, and so, so that there was something, and like I say, I don't know. I knew it for a fact, and yet I didn't know what that even meant. Also, that I would, even though I was very close with kids, I would never have children in this life. I mean, I didn't even believe in God, and but I knew that. And yeah, I mean, there were various intuitions that came, but I didn't know what to call them. But they were truths. But anyone else? Lenita, you still have your hand up. Did you have something else? We can read your lips, but some people can't. Still can't hear you.
Sorry, no, I didn't raise my hand in. No.
Oh, okay.
That was my story for this evening.
Oh, good. No, it's really, that's, Mayor Prasad, what do you have to say about intuition? Anything that occurs to you?
I think there is two types of intuitions that I have found in my life. One is the one that you were, one is the type you were referring to, where it just comes unawares to you. It just wells up within you.
Yeah.
Your headset isn't working.
Oh, wait 1 second. Apparently, my headset isn't working. Huh.
You might have to go to audio settings.
Oh, okay. Wait 1 second here. I go to audio settings.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Huh. Uh-oh, I went to video. I really goofed up. 1 second here. I'm gonna just. What do I hit?
Where it says speaker, you hit audio settings, speaker, and then.
Oh, okay. Wait 1 second here. And I go to speaker. What? How did it get off a speaker?
It should be onto your headset, not your speaker.
Is it here somewhere? A test speaker?
No, don't do that.
Okay. Now. Okay, I think I'm rejoined the 21st century here. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Prasad.
Yeah, so the first one I found is, and this is my experience, it doesn't have to resonate with anyone, but the first one I found is the one which wells up within you without your asking or anything. It just shows up in your conscious to do something. I found many examples of this, but until you actually act on it, you are very restless. You don't feel comfortable. There is, until you're done with that, you don't feel good about it. So that is one of the things. For an example for me is many examples, but one of the examples is one day I just suddenly heard within my deep of my heart that I should read God Speaks 3 times. And I kind of ignored that. I may have shared this earlier, but I kind of ignored that for a while, and Baba doesn't let you ignore certain things, and he didn't let me go on that. And every time I read something, it would have somebody, Baba is telling somebody to read God Speaks 3 times or something like that. So every time I heard something, there will be something, some reference to reading God Speaks. I kept on ignoring it and postponing it for, I think, maybe 4 to 6 months. And one day I went to drop off my kid at one of these chess games in Seattle. And I dropped him off and I went to get some coffee and went to the Starbucks nearby. I parked my car and then I got out of my car and then I turned around like that. And there was a church behind me. And on that church was a banner, huge banner that said, God speaks.
Yep.
And that was pretty much the last straw. I came back home that night. I took out the God speaks and read, because I couldn't go on without that. So I think with those kind of intuitions, Baba finds a way to just get you to do
Yeah.
what he wants you to do.
Yeah.
The second one is a bit harder, and I try not to access at all. First of all, is that some decision you want to do, and you want to access, you want to see what Baba would like you to do, and that is the second type of intuition. For example, you may have had an argument with somebody or some issue in your life where you want an answer for, and I dread to do that second part because I know that whatever answer I'm going to get from within, I may not be able to follow. So I just don't go there unless I know for sure I can do it. So basically, it's opportunistic for me to do that. If I know that I'll be able to do it, I'll try to access. Otherwise, I don't bother going there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I know that state. But yeah, here. Well, see, Telly, we're talking about intuition. Any thoughts that occur to you about intuition, or any experiences that you can shed some light on intuition?
Just to trust it.
Yeah, the one of the things we did say is that Baba said that intuition is always 100% correct, but the challenge is accessing it, or and after accessing it, following it, you know, and that's kind of where we kind of got started here.
Sometimes I find intuition shows up in the outer life as synchronicity. So it's like an external intuition to see something that's synchronous with what I'm thinking, or I see someone who reminds me of someone else, and I know I need to contact that person that they remind me of.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
So it's a form of intuition, I feel.
yeah, yeah. I think we've all had that experience where something reminds you of someone, even though it's not the same person, but then, oh, I should call that person. And you call that person and you find that it was very timely.
I did it today. I posted something in a course I'm taking, and then my teacher gets back to me and says, "You must be psychic because this is exactly what we'll be talking about next week." I was clueless as to how that was operating consciously,
Yeah,
but I had this feeling about sharing this piece of information, and it just turned out being very timely
yeah.
and appropriate.
It's a beautiful, while we're down here in this melodrama, it's nice to have at least some, um, a roadmap a little bit. um, let's see, anyone else? Marge, anything that occurs to you?
I'm just loving the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah. What about Payam?
Hi there.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Were you following a little bit this where we've been
Yeah,
talking about intuition? Yeah.
this is a great topic, and I often wish I could tap into my intuition more. I really feel I'm limited in my ability to access it. I know it's there because I have acted intuitively. I can count on like my hands how many times, maybe 3-4 times, when I had a very strong inner knowing and I didn't know how I knew it. And I had absolute conviction. But like I said, maybe 3-4 times I felt it. And I don't know, that's it. The rest of the time, I feel I'm really moving from my head.
Well, you know the thing though is here's one thing I'll say. We have we've all got the basic intuition, which is to try to be loving in every situation. I mean, that is a massive intuition. You know what I mean? That's a massive manifestation of intuition in our lives. I mean, all these little refinements are a different thing. But if, you know, you go to work and you're trying to give these people the best that you can, you know, that, I mean, that is the intuitive way to live in this life. You know, I mean, that's the whole, even if you don't know, even if you, like I say, even if you don't get little glimpses of intuitions along the way, you're in the right territory. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
That's a beauty, Jeff, what you said. Love seems to be the ultimate intuition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're coming to each day with love,
Mhm.
you've got the ultimate intuition,
Right. That's it.
you know.
You know, I will say this in my work sometimes with children. Somehow, so in my personal life, when I have to make decisions and all that, that's where it gets complicated. But when I'm with children, somehow I don't think too much. And there's like a flow. And, you know, ever since COVID, especially, and with all the Zooms, I've been practicing. You know, Mayor Prasad, I do the 5 minutes now, in addition to doing the, you know, dress yourself, set my alarm. And then I think of Baba even in that moment. So I do feel oftentimes he may take over, and I don't always know how. I just kind of do whatever I'm doing. And if I really thought about it, it doesn't always make sense to me. Like if I think rationally what I did. So in those moments, I feel absolutely with taking Baba's name and doing my best to remember him in that moment really helps. The rest of it, personally in my life, it's more difficult.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I know what makes difficult. Well, what makes it difficult is when you have um, an emotional charge, and then the emotional kind of makes the accessing the intuition difficult.
Yes.
You know, sometimes when I have to make a decision, I have to let the emotion, the stirred up, charged emotion, start to kind of subside, and then I can see what to do, even if it takes a couple of days for that whole emotional complex to run
Yes.
through me. And then when it kind of quiets down, I can see. But meanwhile, the emotional complex is just too dominant before my consciousness.
Jeff, there are a couple of hands there, I see.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go with let's go with Marcia first.
Oh, okay.
I told you guys a couple of weeks ago I was having trouble with my dog, and I was very emotional about it. And then I started thinking about, my intuition kind of kicked in that when I was in the house, I was throwing treats and training her, right? And then now the last couple of days I've been walking and she still wouldn't come home for the last block or two. So I started throwing treats. And then today, I went real slow and took my time. And then I realized that I needed to just put into motion what I had already been taught. Like she retrained me and I retrained her, So now I was going out and feeling like I love walking, and all of a sudden I didn't want to walk anymore because I had a drag trying to get the dog to go, and I made a vet appointment and it got canceled. And so like today I'm walking, I say, wow, I finally resolved it. She just likes playing games and likes treats. So the last block I just say, go get it. And she keeps going and she goes right in the house. And it was like, I had the tools, but it's kind of sounds stupid, but it's kind of like, wow, now I can be happy again walking my dog, right? And she's not sick. She was just letting me know that she didn't want to do what I wanted. It's kind of like crazy. And then I had another intuition. I had a friend that we became unfriends, and I kept listening to what you said about like, I put her in the heart meditation and I said, Baba, take this away. And I kept thinking about the person. And then I talked to my friend and she said, oh, this person had called and asked about you. And that was a couple weeks ago. And then the same day I talked to my friend at night, this person called me out of the blue, and it was like the day before I was saying, Baba, take this, and it ended up being good because I said, I just wanted to resolve stuff now instead of carrying it over, and it worked out pretty good listening to your intuition,
Yeah.
It's usually your first thought though, because when you start looking at it and examining it, then it takes you to a bunch of different things and kind of gets more and more. So it's kind of the detachment thing is important too, and to, trust yourself.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Now, Lanita, you're what's the name of your next child? No.
Well, I just want to say, that, a couple times when I was at Baba's Garden, Baba's Garden, for who doesn't know what that means, is the house of Baba here at the Merher Center in Myrtle Beach, where I live. And there's a beautiful garden around his house. So, and we go there, sometimes to meditate, to hang out, to pray for him or whatever. So many times when I was in the garden, I didn't know, I thought it was Baba's voice in my head, One day he said to me, call Maria. And I called Maria. I never have called Maria before in my life. I call her, Maria is a woman who she when you call her, she gets messages from Baba and she tells you, immediately. When you call her, she starts telling you what Baba's saying to her. Baba's talking to you, but through her, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So whatever, that's her thing with Baba. But but Baba, I always thought it was Baba, but it was Baba, then it was talking to me, saying this thing. And he said other things, another 2 times also that was in the garden. He spoke to me, And then, and I always thought it was Baba's that was talking to me. There was no doubt. But, since we're talking about intuition, I never thought could be my intuition, that was telling me this and that, So I don't know. What do you say? It could be, because somebody said to me, you can't be sure. I was talking to someone, the person said, you can never be sure if it was Baba that was talking to you. How you know? It could be another, whatever in the realm of the different kind of realms upstairs, upstairs.
Yeah.
You know, that's not Baba. It could be something else, some other spirit, you know, that's hanging there around you and then is talking to you. And I never thought this way, but I was puzzled. I was like, what? Another spirit? Who's this? What spirit? You know, that could talk to me like that, you know? And then I was like, well,
I mean, I think we kind of have we kind of after years and years we kind of know Baba's voice, and even the
yeah.
voice of our own higher self. And I think we're safe and safe from hearing other voices. Uh, that's at least I have kind of faith that that the any kind of flash that I get, it's got sometimes it has Baba's signature on it. How I know that I don't know, but I'll tell you. Oh, yeah, Dinku. She's got her hand raised there. Ah, while she's trying to access her, I'm going to tell you kind of a funny story. There was one lady that worked at the center, and she was she didn't believe in any of this kind of stuff that we're talking about. Just just straightforward and everything. Well, she was living in Utah in this huge apartment complex, huge. And she's up in her apartment, way up there, and she gets this flash, a voice that says, go down and do your washing. Do your washing right now. Do your laundry. She's thinking, do my laundry. This is like, and it's like Bob was telling her, do my laundry. But it had a certain insistence. So she grabbed up her laundry, went all the way down the elevator, and she's down in the the laundromat at the bottom of this apartment. And she puts her stuff in the in the washing machine and everything. And she hears some people, there's some Indian family over there. And she hears someone say Shireen, the name Shireen. So she kind of like says, Shireen, I know the name Shireen is the name of Meher Baba's mother. Yes, we're Baba lovers. So the whole Indian family was Baba lovers. And she went, and so they started having meetings in this building. But like you say, she was like so, what, go do your laundry right now. So it can happen like that. Oh, so Dinku now. We're back to Dinku. If she can get if she can get her audio working. Hello, Dinku. Use your intuition. You can get it going.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Do you remember either you shared a story or somebody else did? I don't remember. But this is a story of, what's this lady's name? Somebody was taking care of this great Baba lover. It's either, oh, I think Jane Haynes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I forget the name of the lady who was taking care of her in her last few months or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day she steps out. She steps out of the home, leaving Jane at home, and she walks towards Meher Baba house. And on the way, she keeps getting this particular thing which tells her constantly something to say that you're not wearing the right kind of shirt. Is this the right attire when you go to Baba's house? And then she constantly keeps getting this thought, and then she ignores twice, and it happens third time. And she says, maybe I should this time listen to whatever this thought I'm getting. and then she gets back home to the house, I think Pine Lodge,
Jane
and
Haynes's house, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
May house, yeah.
yeah, where she was
What's
staying.
Hannah?
And then she walks in, and then she says, okay, she would want to change her shirt, and then she opens a closet, and there is this smoke coming out of the closet. Because I think Jane has a habit, or somebody there has a habit of putting some cloth over a lamp or something, and that got
Yeah.
overheated and started burning.
There
And
was a fire.
so
Yeah,
then
a
is
light bulb was too close to a pillow,
right,
and
right,
it started burning. Yeah,
yeah. And then she says that told me it is definitely intuition, driving her to, do the
yeah.
right.
Saved. It could even save the center because the center is a tinder box.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember now. It was shared during
yeah,
while you were remembering Jane
yeah.
Haynes. Yeah.
And it's interesting, but she said that Baba took advantage of my vanity. She said
Mm,
my vanity was what made me go back and uh, get something different on.
right,
And
exactly.
Baba was even able to use that weakness of hers, so to speak, and save a fire from happening. But
Exactly.
now we got Dinku. Yeah, Dinku, can't hear you. Huh. Ooh, now I think we can hear you now. Go ahead.
No, I
Oh,
think our audio is not working.
yeah, somehow. Let's go to Janet Jacobs and Dinku. Break in at any time if you
Yeah.
think you get it.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
Okay. Can you hear me now?
good, good. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. Um, no, it's just that, you know, when the pandemic started, I was alone. And after a while, it started getting to me. I was missing my last dog. And there were so many dogs that were abandoned. And I thought maybe I'd start fostering. So I called up this lady who gives out dogs for adoption and fostering. And I said, I'd like to foster some, you know. And she said, oh, listen, please, there's this one dog. You have to take him. He's old, he's abandoned, blah, blah. And I said, no, but I would like to foster. And she went on. And before I knew it, the words came out of my mouth. I had no intention of saying it. I said, okay, I'll take him. And I don't know how the words came out, but I had no intention of doing it. And that's how I got my present dog. And I still think it was Baba's prompting,
yeah,
or some sort of an intuition, or maybe even Baba saying the words out from me, that, made this happen.
yeah. No, I mean, these things are real things that happen, and kind of a part of the beautiful intimacy with Baba. That that things come out of us that you kind of know didn't come from you.
Yeah.
It came from another place, and they manifest and happen. Yeah,
So, I mean, it was, and of course, I have no regrets whatsoever, but, I still look back on it and I think, wow, where did that come from?
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. No, it's hey. So, I'm going to go to Janet Jacobs, but I just want to tell Diane and Terry, we're on the subject of intuition and different. Prakash brought it up, and we're people are giving examples of how intuition works. So yeah,
We knew that.
what's that?
We knew that.
Oh,
It was our intuition.
oh, good. Yeah. That was a good intuition. Oh, I knew you were going to say that too.
No, it was your intuition.
Okay, Janet, let's find out from Janet here.
Well, I have kind of a question, and that is, I mean, what is that one thing that Baba says, the voice inside of guidance, intuition, and inspiration is my voice? Is guidance in there? I mean, what I'm picking up on is wondering about is the difference between guidance and intuition. Because I mean, sometimes I'll think of somebody and then I'll think, no, and I won't think, it'll be obvious to me that this is not the time to call them. I need to wait. The timing isn't right. And so sometimes it feels more like guidance, Baba's guidance of just, no, you need to wait before you talk to call that person. This wouldn't be a convenient time to call them or something like that, And I'm just wondering how you would differentiate between guidance and intuition.
No, I would say that not calling them now is an intuition. I mean, guidance is more like, I think of guidance as kind of the general principles to live by, to be honest, kind, helpful, all of that. But this is more very site-specific intuition that we're talking about, where, I should call my aunt. Somehow out of the blue, I wouldn't even think of my aunt, and I call her, and this turns out to be her birthday. Something like that. But even not knowing not to do something at a particular time can be a very direct intuition.
Baba says, here is a message, Janet.
Yeah.
Baba says, I posted in the chat box here.
Thank you.
I speak eternally. The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice, the voice of inspiration, of intuition, of guidance. Through those who are receptive to this voice, I speak. That's what Baba says.
Yeah. There he's saying his voice covers guidance, intuition, and inspiration. They're all kind of fused together.
Yeah.
Any other? I'll share something that I do. I can do tedious things for years. Most people would find it totally crazy, but I'm very kind of specific, and so what I started doing, I probably may have got this from Darwin or Harry Kenmore, Dr. Kenmore, but if I see a situation, like suppose I'm going to go to a party, and I think, I'm not going to enjoy that party. I gotta kind of go because, and so if I go to the party and I actually enjoy myself, or I connect with somebody at that party, then afterwards I say, Jeff, you said it was going to be this way, and it turned out to be different, and I hold myself accountable for missing what is, not seeing what is, and I don't just kind of blow it off. If I envision something incorrectly, I would hold myself accountable. Meaning, I just don't let myself. I don't beat myself up over it, but I'm trying to distinguish between mental projections and intuitions. And it's a very tedious sort of a thing, but I have enjoyed it so that, I rarely run across a situation that I misread after years and years. You kind of see what is, and the mental projection, that whole mechanism has kind of gotten diminished so that you can see see things about your life or see things about others or situations. So you're not really surprised by, say, someone's behavior. You see, and if you misread someone's behavior, then, like I say, if I misread someone, I think they're going to be this way, and they turned out to be that way, I have to go in and get work with Baba on that misprojection to clear it out. It's a it's a mistake that's got to be cleared up. So, but see, the beautiful thing about life is that if you envision something in advance and it turns out to be different, well, you know right there that you projected something. It wasn't an intuition. So, so you can find out as you go along. You thought, oh, well, this kid is going to wear me out. He wants to play all the time. But you find out you have a good, really fun, you feel enlivened in being with him. So, wow, that's a big mistake, you know. So what is in me? What was it in me that projected that false thing on him? That needs to be investigated. Anyway, Priya.
Yes, thank you. I was just remembering, I think something that sort of stuck was what Mayor Prasad said about him not actively dipping in because he might not be able to follow through.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of one of my teachers. I practiced shamanism for almost 4 years. And he had spent a lot of time with the native people. And they always said that if you're inspired by something, you must honor it. And that if you don't, it stops speaking to you. Like you have to be impeccable. But what Mayor Prasad shared was also something that deeply resonated. It happens with me too. Sometimes you have that inner guidance or inspiration and you don't act on it. So how does one overcome that? How do you take that leap of faith and, like?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Oh, go ahead, Diane.
I think my first response was because we've just been told that is Baba's message to you, is the guidance and the intuition. So if I said that to myself, as opposed to distrusting my own guidance and intuition, and said it was Baba's, I might actually have sold myself on it.
Yeah, it's, like suppose you kind of blow up at somebody and then afterwards you feel intuitively Baba wants you to go apologize. Oh, God, I don't want to go apologize. Baba, don't make me do, even though you know that if you apologize, it could resolve the situation. I mean, it could, but, it's just, sometimes it's painful, too painful to even think about going and apologizing. But then it stays in the air. It doesn't really get resolved. So I mean, we're getting the hints and everything and help along the way, but I don't think anybody should feel bad if they just don't always act on the intuition. But the more you do act, Baba says, the more you act on the intuition, the more like you said, the more intuition comes. The more the spirit will guide you. So we're only kind of doing ourselves in a little bit by trying to. What did you say there, Baba? I didn't quite hear that. What language was that in?
I'm too tired to hear you, Baba.
Not tonight, Baba. I mean, like, really. Lanita, you got your hand up.
Well, I want some clarification in this last statement that I think were Meher Prasad or you, Jeff, that said that the ultimate intuition is love.
Yeah.
What does that exactly means? The ultimate intuition is love. Who said that? Did you say that, Meher Prasad? Did you read somewhere?
We said that ourselves. That we weren't quoting Baba, but
Who said? You?
I think I said it. Yeah. The
Okay, go
I
ahead.
mean the best thing we can do in our whole spiritual life is to be loving, to approach the day and try to be loving throughout the day. So that is that's the overall intuition. That's the best intuition because we're in alignment with Baba and the divine. So even if we're not getting any little intuitions along the way, just you're going into work and you're trying to do the best job you can and you try to be in harmony with your fellow workers. That's that's embodying intuition, the intuition of love. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. I get it now. Yeah, I didn't have understood before, but now I get it. Okay. The intuition of love.
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Any let's see if we get let's see what VJ, let's see if we can get VJ out of the shadows. Ah.
He may not.
What about Meth? Anything that comes to mind about intuition for you?
Yes, there's a period of time, it was some years ago, and situations kept arising and I was prompted to follow what was intuition at the time. And for example, I was picking up hitchhikers. I don't pick up hitchhikers. It's dangerous for one thing, but I would go out for lunch and I would see somebody. It was very hot in Tucson at that time. It was the middle of summer. It would be well over 100. And I would see somebody walking and drive past. And eventually I would have to turn around, go around the block, turn around and go back and ask them if they needed a ride. And that happened to me several times. And sometimes it was someone that there would be some kind of spark there, but not always. But that I called intuition. It was completely against what I would normally do. But it was a very powerful thing. I had to do it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of overrides sometimes our usual habitual behavior or how we normally carry on. Yeah. Let's see, Katharine.
Yeah, I wanted to just share. This is reminding me of some things that, I've experienced and along the lines of intuition, but it maybe not quite the same. But there was one experience I had, and maybe y'all could explain what it was. But I was it was back, it was some time ago, and I was trying to rollerblade on a kind of a rough type of sidewalk, and I had parked somewhere, and it was in a park that was kind of far away from where I was staying at the time, and I had tucked my car key in the rollerblade skate, and somehow it had come out while I was rollerblading. And so I went all back, and then I took my rollerblades off, realized I didn't have my car key, and went over the whole area that I rollerbladed, which was fairly long, without my rollerblades on, trying to find the key, and I'm like in my socks walking up and down because I don't have the I can't get in the car to get my shoes, and I can't find it, and I'm really starting to stress out because I'm miles away from where I need to get home to, and I don't know what, nobody's around, I don't know what to do. And so I mean, and I've had it, I can have a lot of anxiety sometimes, and so I just just kind of gave it all up, and in prayer, asked for Baba's help, and almost instantly I had this overwhelming sense of calm and peace. Like it was like somebody had shot me with some drugs or something. I mean, I was just completely, it was noticeably not anxious, and then this sheriff's vehicle pulls up shortly after that, and I'm just still walking, looking at my key. I don't know if I don't even get that they're there to help me. and then they kind of acting like there's something wrong with me because I'm looking at the ground with my socks on, walking up and down. I look strange. And so they get my attention. They said, well, somebody has called saying that there looked like there was a woman that was lost, that needed help. And I'm like, well, that's me. And I got in the car, and, they were wondering if there was something, I got the impression that they were concerned about my mental state at the time. And so we finally get back to my car, and they get it in. I have to prove to them that this is my car and everything. But I've had experiences like other ones similar to that, but it's just this sort of instant connection and whatever, in this sort of state of really needing help. And then they Baba's there. And so I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. No, we've had such experiences where you're really desperate and you call on Baba, and something intervenes.
And I know I've heard of stories where like people are getting shot at, and they call out Baba, and then they don't get hit. There was some story or somebody, they were being robbed. Pretty intense situation where they call out Baba, and they're saved from something.
Yeah, we there's one story we know of that. What about, let's see what VJ, we're talking about intuition.
Jai Baba, Jeff, yeah, I heard. Well, first time I had this experience of intuition when I was struggling for the job, and this was like a very high government job which comes through UPSC, and there was no way also, and I was struggling very hard. But within me, I knew that I am going to get it. There was so much struggle. And even the day of interview, I had to go to Delhi. And when I got down on the railway platform, there was bomb explosion. And I was walking, just happened just 2 hours before, maybe 3 hours. And there was no one on the railway station. People are watching, and then the blood is scattered. But I was just occupied with my thoughts. I just walked from the side, and then later I came to know that there was an explosion and something happened, some terrorist act. So that was And then anyway, I went to the guest house provided by those Yatri Niwas. Those days, railways used to provide hotels and then anyway, I had to struggle also more. But then I I was succeeded later on. After 6 months, I knew that I was succeeded. So that was my intuition. I faced that I am going to get, and you go on, go struggle. Actually, it's true. Intuition is just not our day-to-day life, but when some complex matters, we should try to, get into intuition things. Otherwise, in general, I found my daily activities just loving Baba, obedience, and try to watch my action whether they are inspired by lust, greed, anger. So like this, and that is just loving Baba, and whatever out of love inspires me, doing my thing. So yeah, and it doesn't bother me much what is intuition and what is that. I keep on doing my things with Baba, just loving him, and I get the, and even sometime I had wrong decisions also, like big decisions, like I started constructing a house at Mehrabad. I made a big bungalow. I had a big plot there. I made it. And first time failed, second I struggled, and finally I completed it also. But I was not able to stay there. And even after retirement, I moved all my things there in that bungalow. But it so happened that I got to stay in Pune, and something happened and I got this new place. But then I say, okay, Baba, it's uh, your wish. I will follow whatever occurs in the natural course. And now that place is now it is like a deserted place. The everything got stolen, but I say it's okay. And I was compensated by Baba also. So I knew that Baba has given me this place, and it's okay. So there were some complex matters, and but it's okay. I don't bother what is intuitively or just loving Baba, and he internally guides. Okay, this is it, and obey. So yeah, that's the way I go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that's it. Kind of embody the intuition, so you don't necessarily you have to even think about it so much.
Yeah.
Especially as long as you're loving, you're
Yeah.
living from the right place. What about? Let's see what Diane has to say.
I was not prepared for that. I missed the last part of the conversation. I was brushing my teeth.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. Well, we may have kind of talked talked intuition pretty fully, um, unless Diane, unless you come up with something. I bet Terry is probably especially intuitive, right?
She's very, 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 very intuitive.
Yeah. It's funny. Gene Shaw was very intuitive, and Darwin was not as intuitive. But I mean, as far as getting flashes, but he was, he was just a wine barrel going, moving around in this world. I mean, a portable Baba meeting, you might say.
I think you need to be quiet inside for intuition to be heard.
Yeah.
And I think I allow too many distractions at times.
Uh-huh.
And my dog is acting weird. And So when I have an intuition about something and I go with it and it works out in a very positive manner, it does give me the encouragement to keep the door open more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. And it is comes out of a quietness. I feel. I mean, where the mind is very quiet and
So when I went to India, the bed that I was lying on, the picture of Baba is the one that he's doing this.
yeah.
And it was so that's my screensaver on my phone and the picture I have at work, because I always need to try and quiet my mind.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. No, I think that's let's see if there's anyone else have anything to say. I'll tell you, so this is in an entirely different direction. There was a woman named Marcia Milburn. She was from Michigan. She was in college. This is years ago. And while she was in college, she heard about Baba and really became drawn to Baba. Really, and at one point she called her mother and said, you know, mother, and started telling her mom about Baba. And her mom said, well, wait until you come home, you know, wait till the end of the semester and we'll talk. So she so at the end of the semester, she goes home and she's, you know, brings up the whole topic of Baba. And her mother kind of is listening quietly. And her mom says, maybe now I can tell you, now that your father has passed on. And she says, when we were first married, you know, early on in our marriage, I wanted to go see Meher Baba in Myrtle Beach. And your father would only let me see Baba if I would never have any pictures or speak about Baba or have any contact with the Baba people. And so and she's hearing this. And so I went and I saw Baba in 1956 in Myrtle Beach. And I brought you, and he held you on his lap. So she came from, you know, can you imagine? But she kept true to that promise, you know, not to, she could see Baba on the condition that she wouldn't mention Baba at all.
You know,
Let's
Jeff,
see. Yeah, go ahead.
similar thing happened to somebody in India too. I don't know, I mean, the whole story, but then
Asthma? Could it be
maybe I think this lady, I mean, she I think was not encouraged by her husband to do anything with Baba, and then she I think maybe this lady, I don't know, but then she goes to Baba and says, "This is a problem I have." Then Baba says, "Don't have anything of me." Like a picture or a book or anything, and they just internally pray to me, and then and be at your home with your husband, and then this is my I mean, so that's the order whatever Baba gives. And this lady in Dehradun, I think she comes from, and she follows that order till
Oh yeah, yeah.
she dies. And then one day Bhav Kalchuri goes to the same a place in Dehradun, and then there is one lady who looks like the lady who was told by Baba not to have anything of him in at home. And then so Bhauji goes there to Dehradun to a particular place, and then he finds a lady standing at the gate who looks exactly the same like the mother who was advised by Baba what not to do. And then Bauji says, "How come you're now taking Baba's name and everything, and Baba told you not to do all this. Then that lady says, no, I'm her daughter. So uh, true to what Baba told her, this lady never uttered Baba's name loudly, nor had any picture till the time she died.
Yeah. And the husband became a Baba lover, and he felt absolutely terrible
Yeah.
that he was the cause of her
Hmm.
not ever being able to see Baba again.
Right.
And he would come to Mehrabad and everything like that with the daughter,
Hmm.
but she could never go.
Yeah.
There was one of the early mandali that you read about named Asma. As in asthma. Baba gave him the nickname Asma. And he was at he was at the Manzili Meme, that very early ashram of Baba's in Bombay. And at the end of about 9 months, he interviewed each of the men to decide what they wanted to do. They could stay with him, they could go back to college, or they could go off and get married. And he was engaged to get married, but he told Baba that her family they're strict Zoroastrian, and they don't want have anything to do with you. And Baba told, similar to what Prakash was saying, Baba told him to go marry her and don't have any contact. This is 1922. No contact with Baba lovers, no pictures of Baba, nothing. And this is one of the mandali. So now we move ahead to 1972. This is 50 years later, when Balkau Churi was doing Lord Meher, the biography. And he kept coming across this name Asma. What happened to this guy? What happened to Asma? And so he went to Bombay. He heard that he was living in Bombay somewhere, and he found the location. And so what Bao did, in order to get the story, is he went there and said that he was a graduate student and he wanted to interview them about the life of Zoroaster. So he knocks at the door, and the woman lets him in, and he starts asking them about Zoroaster and everything they know about him, and he's writing it down. And at a certain point, the wife says, would you like some refreshments? And would you like some tea? And he said yes, and some refreshments. So she goes off to prepare tea and some refreshments. And so now Bao is alone with the formerly Asma. And he says, Meher Baba dropped his body. And he said, oh my God, my one wish was to see him once before I passed on. He has been with me all these years. I've felt him right here with me. But my one longing was to see him before I died. And he was ill at the time, and he lived about a couple more weeks. But there he stayed true. Wow, what an order, that he saw no Baba people, read no books or anything, and remained true and satisfied his wife and her family, who were strict Zoroastrians.
Imagine in all the three stories, imagine the longing that it will create and increase.
Yeah.
In a way, it's fortunate, but it's the amount of longing is going to be terrible, and increases every
Yeah,
day.
when he sees Baba again, he's not going to go anywhere. he's he's going to hang in there with Baba. Oh, Priya, yeah.
That was a beautiful story. It reminded me of a story that I think Mera had shared. at the porch once about this one woman who was a big Krishna lover. And one time there was a temple, a Krishna temple, and they were having celebrations, and she really wanted to go. Really, really wanted to go. This is back in the late 18 something. And her family didn't want her to go. Her husband and her in-laws didn't want her to go. And she was told to stay at home and, do the household chores. But that evening there were people from her village who gathered, and they were all going to that temple. And she could not resist. So she joined. And somebody from there told her husband about it, that, we saw your wife going to the temple. And they catch her and they beat her up and drag her and bring her home and lock her. But her longing was so much that it is said that Krishna came down to her house and took her form and told her to go and visit the temple. And Mera had shared this story. I don't remember where I read it, but it really made me feel that how in his last avatar, Baba just loved and really, he brought that. And I think in his last avatar as Meher Baba, this whole idea of going within and building or that internal connect. And I guess that's probably why we have these stories where he said that don't keep my pictures, or just, speak to me in your heart. It's incredible. Same longing, and he's just responding so differently.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful that, I mean, if everybody stripped you of everything and forbade you from having anything to do with Baba, they can't take away the Baba within you. And no one even knows. They don't know what you're thinking about. And nothing outer is really needed. I mean, is essential. I mean, it's nice to have the outer as a reminder, but if we're barred from it, it's not going to stop us. It's beautiful. It's completely hidden, if need be. Hey, well, geez, hey, Prakash, it was wonderful you brought up this subject.
No, I think, we had a meeting today and we read discourses, and then in that, this thing came up, and then we didn't have much time. Then I said, okay, let me bring it up with Jeff and everybody. So
Yeah,
that was,
no, thank you.
yeah.
Well, what do you think?
It's 12 o'clock.
I'm trying to think of any. We're coming up to midnight here.
Yeah.
Any last minute things, or anyone have a?
I have a quote, Jeff, if you want,
Okay.
because we are talking about the internal connection. So this is from Intimate Times, Balnath's book. Only give importance to what you feel about your personal relationship with me and how I help you in your daily living. The rest is my business.
Read that again. Read that real slow. That's good.
Only give importance to what you feel about your personal relationship with me and how I help you in your daily living. The rest is my business. Page 432 in the internet.
Yeah. Hey, wait. Maybe can we get a final song from Telly, or are you set up to sing on Zoom? No pressure at all.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's It's a little bit of a production to be able to sing on Zoom and have it halfway decent. Yeah.
Or maybe I'll sing something from Tagore. When thou commandest me to sing, it seems that my heart would break with pride, and I look to thy face, and tears come to my eyes. All that is harsh and dissonant in my life melts into one sweet harmony, and my adoration spreads wings like a glad bird on its flight across the sea. I know thou takest pleasure in my singing. I know that only as a singer I come before thy presence. I touch by the edge of the far-spreading wing of my song, thy feet, which I could never aspire to reach, drunk with the joy of singing, I forget myself and call thee friend, who art my Lord.
Beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful, Telly. Thank you.
Just give us that last line. That's beautiful. The last couplet or whatever it is.
Drunk with the joy of singing, I forget myself and call thee friend, who art my Lord.
Beautiful. What a line.
Thank you, Telly. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Tagore.
What a voice.
Yeah.
Baba said, in Mandalay Hall, someone asked Mani, did Baba say music is the shortest path to God? And Mani said, no, not singing, not music. Singing is the shortest path to God.
Oh.
Wow.
Telly, let me just say to Telly that I got his CD. I love it. It's beautiful. I'm enjoying to listen every day.
Thank you.
Good.
You got a deep voice like Jim Reeves.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, well, let's have a few moments of silence here before we go where we go. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Good night, Jai Baba.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Dinesh.
you.
Jai
Baba.
Nasreen, Payam.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
Use your intuition now.
Yes.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Dinesh. Yeah.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba,
Jai
Har
Baba, Jai Baba,
Mer Baba ki Jai,
Jai.
Baba ki Jai, Har Mer Baba ki